Next, I'm going to combine our public hearing on the school-level self-assessment for determining grades under the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights for the period ending June 30, 2018, pursuant to statute, and the good of the cause for the public, where members of the public are invited to express themselves on school-related matters of concern, to allow for fair and orderly public comment period and the hearing. Comments are limited to 5 minutes. Members of the public are reminded this is a public and televised meeting of the Board of Education, and to protect the privacy of all students and staff, concerns regarding individual students and staff members should generally first be addressed by meeting with the appropriate administrative staff. And before we get into, after I said all that, Mr. Figueroa, you'll kick off the hearing portion of this combined public portion.
Thank you, Mr. Simmons. And before I begin my report, I just want to say, since this is a terrific audience tonight, first of all, this presentation won't be anything like what you've heard already, so please. HIBs are rarely as much fun as what we're talking about tonight. But I do want to say that what you're going to hear a lot tonight is about the scoring and the process that we come to get to a certain level of efficiency and effectiveness when it comes to HIBs. But the results are really out here, and the people who are doing it are out here. And I'm talking about our staff, and that goes from teachers, counselors, of course our student assistance specialists, our support folks, our nurses, of course our fantastic principals, supervisors, assistant principals. These are the people, and our terrific students and our families that really make this work. So the numbers are one thing, but really it's the effectiveness of a program like this and of what we try to do in terms of anti-bullying in this district. It's the folks out here and those like them in the district that really make it work. So I want to thank them, and I want to give you folks a round of applause for all that you do. Okay, so the rest of this I'm required to say. Most of it's scripted, so I apologize. It won't be as exciting as what you saw earlier. The Commissioner of Education has developed a program to guide each public school and school district's efforts to implement the Anti-Bullying Bill of Rights, or the ABBR. The time period for this particular session is July 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2018. A rubric was developed by the Department of Education, and each school was asked to self-assess their school's implementation of the ABBR. Now, the ABBR is based on 8 core elements, which I'll briefly go through. And again, as I said, a lot of the people in the audience are very familiar with them, including the training and including the results we see from them. We get graded on these core elements: HIB programs and approaches, training, additional staff instructional training and programs, curriculum instruction on HIB-related information, HIB personnel, school HIB reporting procedures, HIB investigating procedures, and overall HIB reporting, which is, do we have procedures to make sure that staff report effectively and make sure that incidents are coming in a timely fashion. The process is this. It's required that the self-assessment be made available for public comment. The self-assessment results must be approved by the Board of Education and submitted to the state by September 30th, 2018. The school district's grade will be average of the grades of each school in the district. Each school's safety team was charged with assigning ratings based on the criteria and available documentation supporting each score. So each element and the score that comes with it must have that documentation. Posting of the scores: the Department of Education will post all school and school district scores on the New Jersey Department of Education homepage this fall. Each school must post the grade received and the district score on their school's webpage. The school district must post the district grade, which is the average of all the school's self-assessment scores, on the district homepage. Okay, there should be a scoring. You might want, there we go, scoring. Okay, so the scoring is fairly simple. Meets requirements is 0. So for instance, if we're talking about training staff, and we say we don't train any staff in the district about HIBs and what to do and how to approach them, that's a 0. If we partially would be, well, we train some staff, but not all staff. A 2 would mean we train all the staff that they tell us we have to train, which may be teachers, counselors, administrators. Exceeding that, we'll be training additional staff, bus drivers, cafeteria workers. Okay, so that's the way that scoring goes. And again, you have to have, in each one of the elements, you would have to have documentation proving that you've done what it is that you say you've done. Some important notes, based on our 2016-2017 HIB self-assessment, the areas that required attention were additional training for safety teams and additional training for all staff. In order to address those issues, our anti-bullying specialists were trained as trainers through our evidence-based Alveus anti-bullying program, and the ABSs attended 2-hour training and delivered this to all of our staff during the summer the previous year. Training at department meetings for anti-bullying specialists also include the role of the safety and climate teams and investigating best practices. Based on our 2017-2018 self-assessment, we improved on our overall score, but a noted area that we wanted to improve on is our Bullying Prevention Climate Committee, or our BPCC. Each one of these members attended additional training, and that training is to help us to even build a better culture and a better climate in each school. We realize that although our scores have gone up every year that we've been involved in this program, that there's always room for improvement. We're always constantly monitoring what we're doing, how we're training, what are the results, listening to parents, meeting with parents and families, because we know there's still work to be done. Our school district grade for 16-17 average was 77.6. For this previous year, 17-18, it was 77.7, so a slight increase. This is out of 78. That is the total score. That's important to know. So, although we're not supposed to give letter grades, so I'll put my hand over the mic, but that would be an A+ in anybody's book. And part of that is the reason is that the state in the last 3 or 4 years, I think, Danielle, have been pretty consistent with what they've put in the elements. Before that, what the state would do is say, okay, go through the year, do what you think you do, and then at the end, it's almost like preparing for a test and you know what's on it, then they change what was going to be on it. So you had a grade based on something different. But the state has been very good with that the last few years, so we've continued to hit those marks. Again, I will say, we have work to do, but I think a lot of what you see out there, the good work from the professionals and also from the students, has really made this an exemplary district. My last slide, I want to thank the board for Hipster. Hipster is a program that is a reporting tool that we have now, and it allows us to, on a more timely basis, get information into people that need to have it real time. It allows us to streamline a lot of the paperwork that we've done. We really appreciate the board for allowing us to have this program. The reason why this is so important is it allows our student assistant specialists more time with children, more time with our students and with programs, and less time with paper that they have to have completed. So this program has allowed us to expedite the paper, and now when someone is working at the school level trying to figure out a report or putting one together, we can be online with them at any time. That's Dr. Valesky, myself, or Danielle Blaylock, our supervisor, and help that process move along if there's any questions. So we thank the board for that. That is my report. Are there any questions?
Anyone?
Yes, Michelle.
I'm taking a look at line number 5, and it shows that one of our elementary schools actually scored less or a lower score in HIB personnel than they did the previous year. Now, is that actually referring to like the school having an anti-bullying specialist?
Excellent question. There are several components to that piece. One of the things that some of the schools have scored themselves lower on is because the state mandates that there are 2 meetings for the safety and climate team. This is all under HIB personnel.
Okay.
We require that if we can have as many as 5. So if you have 5 meetings a year for your safety and climate team, we feel that's best for the building. That's best for our school climate. If you have 5, you would score yourself a number 3. But you give yourself a 3 on that, because that would be
Okay.
exceeding the limit. If you're at 2, or anything around 2, we would say, you would probably say you've met the requirement. So that is normally in this district, it doesn't have to do with number of personnel.
I see.
It's more about what, some of our buildings have not been able to get to that 5 mark.
Okay. So it's really more of a qualitative
Yes.
figure than a quantitative. Okay.
Anyone else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone wish to address the board on matters related to the anti-bullying Bill of Rights report we just heard, or any matter? This is the good of the cause now. Please come to the podium and, excuse me, please state your name and address for the record.
Hello, my name is Catherine Nguyen. I live on Old Tenant Court. My 2 school-age children go to Warrenstoffer. I'm here tonight to address an environmental disaster that the East Brunswick schools are perpetuating. East Brunswick schools use approximately 2,500 styrofoam trays and accompanying utensils per day. Times by 180 days, and that's 450,000 trays alone that must be thrown into landfill per year. I think Dr. Valesky and the board are doing a wonderful job. I wrote an email to Dr. Valesky in July that was never addressed. I understand things get pushed to the bottom of a long to-do pile as the urgencies of the day take precedent. I'm here tonight to find that lost email, bring it to the top, and read it to the board. Dear Dr. Valesky, I hope you're enjoying your summer. Thank you for running a large district in such a well-maintained fashion. It is quite an accomplishment. I wanted to write with a very real concern that is so often overlooked. The use of disposable products during lunch is teaching our children a horrible lesson, that the blatant disregard for our environment is a correct action. Nothing could be further from the truth. I can appreciate certain aspects of the disposable mindset and see how it has arisen. However, in this day and age, we need to have a more truthful look at our relationship with the environment, as not realizing our impact has left our globe in a very precarious situation. Below is a message I have sent to my representatives and senators, which highlights the current mindset that must change. Changing a societal error starts with sound education. As a superintendent of schools, it would be wonderful to know that you are on board with a truthful look at the relationship with the environment. Young, impressionable minds are at stake and must be molded to what is right and true through education, in particular through the very actions at the site of education. I'm requesting that the school thoroughly revisit the idea of disposable meal service, which uses plastic and styrofoam as a single short-use item. In brainstorming ideas, I have come up with bring your own place settings, old school eat and wash through porcelain and metal plates and utensils, paper, compostable products, or lunches that require no packaging at all. Think a sandwich with an apple, maybe in a brown bag, tamale with a corn husk as wrapper, soup in a bread bowl with an edible spoon, finger food, cut up pizza with hummus on a cabbage leaf or even large leaf, crudité, burgers and fries on a cardboard holder, flat wraps to hold food, etc. One-time use plastic water or drink bottles should be banned from the school grounds. It is our #1 environmental aggressor at this time. The East Brunswick commitment to a sound environmental practice must be a priority. Thank you for your time and consideration of this letter. I and several other mothers who are equally concerned about this issue would like to know your availability to accommodate this request in some way. We will make ourselves available to meet with you. A reply is kindly requested. We are happy to help with this situation. And the letter to the senators was, this letter is concerning the lack of federal packaging mandates and how this inaction is inflicting untold harm on our ocean ecosystem. Our world is a closed system. Any plastic or non-compostable packaging food service material will remain in our ecosystem for longer than the human race has even existed. To create such material for short-term use, a bottle, a cap, a plate, a fork, an anti-theft device, even a toothbrush is not sound logic. It is becoming clear that this misstep in human creation is in fact causing the demise of God's creation. Animals are dying from obstruction of the digestive tract at unprecedented rates. Plastic remnants, once ingested, cannot pass through the digestive tract of animals. Entanglement, entrapment, and toxification are killing others. All ocean life is affected, avian life as well. Instead of appreciating, admiring a vibrant ocean, we are creating a cesspool void of life and beauty. This cannot be what God envisioned, and it cannot be what is good for America. We are those humans. It is we who are ransoming our future for immediate gain. Our behavior must be...
1 minute advisory.
Yep. Our behavior must be in line with sound ecology. The best time for action has passed, and we are urgently obligated to use the second best time now. In closing, we are in a global environmental crisis with the misuse, addiction to, and convenient dependency on plastics. For East Brunswick schools to ignore this crisis, and worse yet, force upon the students daily actions that exacerbate it, is unacceptable and must be changed in the most immediate, careful, and thought-out way possible. I have a handout with some facts and solutions, as well as contact information to members of the board.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You have raised interesting issues, and I will ask the board if we should have immediate future discussions on at least paper, something that we can look at.
Absolutely.
We should, because I think that's right. I think you actually are right on about that. So,
And we have investigated, and I apologize for not responding directly to your email this summer, but we have investigated the paper products. The viability of paper, the cost obviously is a fact. We actually looked at trying to compost or shred our existing styrofoam trays. We did find out that the actual disposal of those trays is very difficult because it's a soft plastic material and it gums up the equipment, so a lot of people who recycle won't take it. We're looking at different options, and I was working with the Warrensdorfer Environmental Club last year, and the kids had some great ideas, and that really started the conversation about looking at paper alternatives. And we already have some products that we have prepared for the board to review, so thank you very much for bringing it to the public attention.
thank you. Anyone else wish to address the board this evening? Seeing none, I'll close the public portion, and we'll take a 2-minute break.